This is QTV News and I am Umudu Gajaga. Thank you for joining us. We are coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. First, here are the main local, international and sports news headlines. The Director of Health Promotion and Education has told QTV that the recent surge in COVID-19 cases could be attributed to the lack of compliance with guidelines and vaccine hesitancy. Foundation stone for $34 million projects to construct bridges and roads in 3 villages in URR were laid by the Basse Area Council. 250 Gambia Armed Forces personnel have graduated after completing a course in the Turkish language ahead of advanced military training in Turkey later this year. In international news, today the 5th of August commemorates the day when Burkina Faso, formerly known as Upper Volta, gained full independence from France in 1960. And in sports news, following Team Gambia's failure to qualify for any finals or earn a medal in the ongoing Tokyo Olympics, QTV went out to gauge public opinion on their performance. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. The Director of Health Promotion and Education of the Ministry of Health Thursday told QTV that the recent surge in COVID-19 cases could be attributed to the little or lack of compliance with COVID-19 guidelines and vaccine hesitancy. Anjumane Sonyasi reports.
Following the recent surge in COVID-19 cases that have almost overwhelmed the country's main COVID treatment center, the public have again been confronted with the reality that the battle against the pandemic is far from over. From the increase in fatalities to the surge in positive cases, the news over recent weeks has been worrying, forcing government to announce the reintroduction of precautionary measures such as the compulsory wearing of face masks. However, a glance around the streets tells one that not many are paying heed to this. In addition to these concerns, authorities have confirmed the presence and rapid spread of the deadly Delta variant. The Director of Health Promotion and Education at the Ministry of Health, Mudunjai, says the recent surge in positive cases could be attributed to the lack of compliance with COVID-19 guidelines.
This virus, Delta variant, is deadly. People need to understand. And people are dying. And that's a fact. And many people who have gone to the treatment center and people who have watched the interview recently conducted at the treatment center, I think that has been a clear indication that COVID is real and that the variant we are dealing with is deadly. And people are dying out of it. So people need to protect themselves. The use of face masks is the one I want to emphasize. People need to ensure that wherever they are, they put on face masks.
Though the recent encouraging turnouts at vaccination centers have reignited fresh hopes that the tide will eventually turn against the pandemic, Mr. Njai warns against deliberate flouting of precautionary measures.
These vaccines are safe, they are effective, it is there to protect us and our families and the people around us. And we need to make sure that we get vaccinated for us to go back to normal life. This will really help us a lot.
Mr. Njai also thanked members of the public for their continuous support to the ministry during what has been a very difficult period for everyone. He also called on influential community leaders such as religious, youth and women's leaders to encourage people in their respective communities to take the vaccine to protect themselves and their families. On recent reports of a sit-down strike by members of the COVID-19 testing team at the Independent Stadium Testing Center, Mr. Njai says he is unaware of an ongoing strike. Meanwhile, QTV visited the center on Thursday morning and contrary to reports, work is ongoing as usual. Earlier this week, the director of the Medical Research Council in the Gambia, Professor Umberto de Alessandro, told QTV that their sequencing has shown that majority of samples collected have been confirmed to be positive with the deadly Delta variant.
During infection is much higher than other variants, so it's more easily transmissible. So that's why unfortunately spreading like much faster than the previous variant. Yes, but in terms of risk of severe disease and risk of deaths, as far as I know, is not particularly different. But the fact that they have more people infected, the number of people is bigger. So of course you have more also severe cases, and you may have more deaths, unfortunately. Yeah.
The 349th National Situational Report on COVID-19, issued on Tuesday by the Ministry of Health, reveals that 5 new COVID-19 related deaths have been recorded, along with 96 new cases. Answane Sonyasi for KTV News.
Foundation stone for $34 million projects to construct bridges and roads in 3 villages in URR were laid on Wednesday by the Basse Area Council. Our regional reporter Alhaji A.F. Jala was there, and he now reports.
The development of projects will be implemented in the communities of Sambalolo in Fuladu East, Sonkunda in Tumana District, and Bajakunda in Wuli East. At the launching ceremony, the CEO of Basse Area Council, Usman Toure, said the project is important and all taxes collected by council will be plowed back to the people in the form of development projects, as they are mandated to do.
I am overwhelmed, and I'm seeing this today as a dream come true, a very historic occasion for that matter, which is also going to be a landmark in the annals of the history of Basse Area Council. It's a dream come true in the sense that since we took over the reins of this particular council, we've promised ourselves, and we are going to make sure that any little bit of tax that is collected will go back to the taxpayers.
The chairman of Basse Area Councils, Fode Danyo, was delighted, saying he has fulfilled his campaign promises to his electorate. He further stated that the projects will contribute positively to the socio-economic development of the people as enshrined in the National Development Plan.
During rains, it is always a nightmare for people to travel through this stream, most especially when it rains. In fact, when clouds start forming, the vehicle owners will drive and park their vehicles across the area before the rain comes. This project will contribute a lot towards the socio-economy of the villages around here and beyond it. It will boost their income and promote business and other activities, as it is an entry point to Senegal and many other places. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the bridge or culvert that will be constructed at Samalolo connecting to Sabi has numerous benefits to the communities around that area, ranging from assessing their healthcare, farming, transportation of goods and services from Senegal and many others. The importance of the project also cannot be overemphasized. The last bridge of culvert, according to some elders, that's the Samalolo Sabi bridge. The then bridge got spoiled some 30 to 40 years ago, and today Basse Area Council is coming up with one not only for our taxpayers, but the region and beyond who are frequent users of the bridge.
Omar Gari, the councillor for Bajakunda Ward, said the construction of a bridge in Bajakunda will be a life-changing initiative for the people.
The project will serve as a life-changing project in the history of this ward. Bajakunda is in the center of Wuli. So it is this village where we have senior secondary school, healthcare service delivery center. So all these communities within this ward, we all have access to this road, either to go to schools, health centers, or any other facilities. We must cross here.
This initiative is the brainchild of Basse Area Council, and the council says it is fulfilling citizens' demand in providing development projects they desire. Among other roads, the construction of a feeder road linking Basse Manekunda and Basse Waf Town will also be done. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alaji A.F. Jallo.
Now, 250 Gambia Armed Forces personnel have graduated on Wednesday at the Fajara Barracks after completing a course in the Turkish language ahead of an advanced military training in Turkey later this year. Omar P. Jallo attended the ceremony, and this is his report.
The second batch of 250 personnel were trained both in the Turkish language and the cultural values of Turkey. This training was introduced as a precondition for the upcoming military training in Turkey. Selected personnel will be airlifted from the Gambia to Turkey as part of the cordial bilateral relationship between the two countries. In his opening remarks, the commandant of the Gambia Armed Forces Training School, Major Abdullah Job, said the training is designed exclusively to serve as a pace setter in preparing for deployment in the Republic of Turkey.
The Turkish language course is one of a series of activities undertaken by the Gambia Armed Forces High Command through the Gambia Armed Forces Training School in preparation for possible deployment of a quick reaction force to one of the United Nations peacekeeping missions worldwide.
The course principal, Husamet Eyupoglu, congratulated the graduates while expressing satisfaction with the level of commitment and participation during the course.
To evaluate the speaking abilities of our students, care was taken to ensure that the results obtained in this way were as transparent as possible.
The Turkish ambassador to the Gambia, Tolga Bermak, spoke of the long-standing bilateral relationship between the two countries while giving an assurance of Turkey's continuous support to the Gambia Armed Forces. He called for the Turkish language program to be extended beyond just military training to cover a broader scope of Gambians.
This is not only a military training program, but also a good instrument in developing our people-to-people relations. Because a new language opens all kinds of doors to new cultures, new friendships, and brings many professional opportunities in the future.
The Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Mohamed Ocham, said Gambia and Turkey have enjoyed excellent relations in military and security fields since independence in 1965. Major General Cham further challenged participants to always give their best in terms of participations and strict adherence to rules and regulations.
You must therefore leave this institution with the understanding that your new acquired language comes with high expectations from the side of the Gambia Armed Forces. The ability to quickly comprehend essentials in language and exhibit reasonable degree of being able to communicate in order to put your points across and be understood are very essential in your military career.
The event was characterized by a parade, march past, and awarding of certificates and gifts to the Turkish teachers and GAF personnel. Captain Lamin K.F. Fati was acknowledged as the most outstanding participant of this second batch.
Benim Adim Lamin, Shoy Adim Fati, Gambia Orusunda, Yus Bashim, Gambia Etim Okulunda, which I Turche Kurs Gordum, Ve Bukurstan Birinji Oldum, Bunun Ichin Chok Mutlu Oldum.
Thousands of Gambian soldiers have been trained in Turkey since the establishment of the Turkish training team in the Gambia in 1991. Learning a language adds to one's skills, and it is hoped that this training will be put to good use in and outside the military. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Well, beautiful language studies there. I have no clue what he was talking about in Turkish. We will now go for a short commercial break, and when we return, we will still have some more local, international, and sports news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
Are you ready for some great news? I'm Christine Mundwa.
And I am Eddie Micah Jr. with the brand new DW News Africa,
The show that tackles the issues shaping the continent.
now with more time to offer an in-depth look at all the trends that matter to you.
What's making the headlines and what's behind them?
We're on the streets to give you in-depth reports and insights.
DW News Africa, every Friday, 11:30 p.m. and Saturday, 7 p.m. on QTV.
From an early age, we value the feeling of speed, the thrill of the wind as we rush to our destinations, the feel of our feet bounding over the ground, the way the world blurs as we rush by, faster, faster than a ray of light, I'm flying. I have one speed, I have one gear. Keep on moving, I won't stop till I get there. Want to experience speed? Then subscribe to the Gambia's 4G LTE mobile network, QCell. With speeds of up to 45 megabytes per second, you can get online in the blink of an eye. The fastest browsing, stream videos faster, do much more faster. Just dial *335# to join the fastest club. QCell's 4G LTE mobile network. Go faster. For more information, call 111. QCell. Senior Boss. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just joining us, this is QTV News. A memorandum of understanding in operations was signed on Wednesday by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency of Nigeria, and more in this report. The MOU seeks to strengthen on operations between the Gambia and Nigeria drug law enforcement agencies in the fight against drug trafficking through intelligence sharing, data, and regional cooperation. It has long been accepted that the fight against illicit drug trade, production, and organized crime requires a broader regional partnership. Bakari Gassama, the director of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency of the Gambia, says the MOU will benefit both countries. Drugs are trafficked within, through land, sea borders, and by air clandestinely. Anti-narcotic officers use various tools to combat the trade through intelligence, arresting suspects and handing them to the police for prosecution. Mohamed Buba Mawa, chairman and CEO of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Nigeria, says his institution will partner with the Gambia to combat drug trafficking and organized crime through intelligence sharing.
Drug abuse and the drug trade, trafficking, is one of the problems that the world is facing now. It's international. And so there has to be collaboration. You have to go after it. You won't sit and just allow it. So this collaboration will assist both countries to cooperate in areas of training, technical expertise, operations, and other areas between both of us to help our peoples against the scourge of drug abuse and the destruction caused by the drug business.
The Minister of Interior, Yankuba Sonko, assures the two institutions of the Gambia government's support through his office for the successful implementation of the MOU, adding that every country should join hands to combat drug trafficking to save future generations.
The signing of this MOU is a positive step towards meeting the type of cooperation envisaged by ECOWAS leaders to promote effective regional and international cooperation in criminal matters, with special emphasis on extradition, mutual legal assistance, and confiscation of proceeds of drugs or crimes. Thus, your initiative to enter into this MOU will further enhance the spirit and aspiration of the political declaration. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my ministry, and by extension the government of the Republic of the Gambia, is in support of your engagement. We stand firm to support and strengthen the counter-narcotic regime in the region.
Now that the MOU has been signed, hopefully it will be implemented to mutually benefit both countries in the fight against the illicit drug trade. Mamudu Gajiga, QTV News. From that report, coming up next is international news. Today, the 5th of August, commemorates the day when Burkina Faso, formerly known as Upper Volta, gained full independence from France in 1960. Jennifer Sonko has more on the country's economic, political, and social standing.
Burkina Faso is a landlocked country in West Africa that covers an area of around 274,200 square kilometers and is bordered by Mali to the northwest and Niger to the northeast, Benin to the southeast, Togo and Ghana to the south, and the Ivory Coast to the southwest. Burkina Faso is a multilingual country with an estimated 70 languages spoken there, of which about 66 are indigenous. French is the official language of the country. The economic potential of Burkina Faso's cultural sector is undeniable and could become a true pillar for development. More than 170,000 people, or approximately 2.14% of the active population of Burkina Faso, perform cultural occupations. According to a World Bank report, Burkina Faso's economy is likely based on agriculture, which employs 80% of the workforce. Although gold exports have increased, despite the progress made, Burkina Faso faces a number of development challenges, particularly in health and education. It currently ranks 155th out of the 173 countries on the New Human Capital Index published by the World Bank Group. 40.1% of the country's population lives below the poverty line. Furthermore, the security conditions caused by terrorist attacks have created an unprecedented human crisis. Growing insecurity, particularly in the north along the border with Mali and Niger, has displaced several communities in Burkina Faso. While there were fewer than 50,000 internally displaced persons in the country in July 2019, a report issued by the National Council for Emergency Assistance and Rehabilitation put this figure at more than 1 million at the end of December 2020. One piece of good news is that on his country's Independence Day, Burkinabe athlete Fabrice Zango won the country's first ever Olympic medal when won bronze in the triple jump in Tokyo. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Basonko.
Happy independence to Burkina Faso and congratulations on their first Olympic medal there. And coming up next now, it's sports news. Following Team Gambia's failure to qualify for any finals or earn a medal in the ongoing Tokyo Olympics, QTV went out to gauge public opinion about the performance of our gallant Olympians. Abibatu Sise has the rest of the details.
Gambia sprint queen Gina Bass, sprinter Ibrahima Kamara, judoka Fainjai, and swimmer Ibrahima Soribuaro all failed to reach the finals of the Olympics in Tokyo, Japan. Gina was knocked out of both the women 100 meters and 200 meters at the semi-final stage, while Ibrahima Kamara did not progress beyond the first round in the men 100 meters, finishing 6th and posting a time of 10:33. Fainjai lost in the judo opening game, while swimmer Ibrahima Soribuaro couldn't reach the men's final 50 meters freestyle, despite finishing 3rd in his heat. Many on the social media have been praising Team Gambia for representing the country despite not winning a medal. Palamin Jiba, a former athlete, commended the Gambia team for their performances while calling for more support for athletics in the country.
I think what they need to improve is the government intervention. Government should intervene more on athletics because definitely in the country here, Gambia, we concentrate more on football than athletics. And I think we have very good athletes in the Gambia. We should intervene on athletics. We have GNOC. Government should empower the GNOC, give them more funds for them to coordinate in athletics countrywide.
Landin Jiba, a footballer, says there are a lot of challenges in sports and believes that the team can do better if they get the right support.
All these people came from a family. And these people need to take care of a family at home. They cannot believe in their works, everything, participating on the sport, thinking that that's their life. At the end of the day, they are not gaining, they are nothing. People like Jinabas and Ibrahima, these should have been people, that today, everybody is giving them a finger point. Like, this is Jinabas going with the car, or this is Ibrahima going with car, or somebody else. But, we are not seeing that. These people have been complaining like they are not getting the help from the government. I think the ministry have to put a position like in being giving them a full-time help.
Yaya Baji, a sports fan, says the athletes need exposure to be able to compete in international sporting events. This, he says, can be done by making it easier for them to travel outside the country and train with other athletes.
If you want to be the best, you have to, beat the best. That's the only way. Training with the best inspires you, motivates you, gives you a lot. So in that way, you can learn a lot from them. And then it will be easy for you, to get on that stage and do it.
Jenna Basonko, also a fan, has this to say.
Just recently, I was having a conversation with an individual who told me that in other countries, other athletes get to go with their own physiotherapists, with their own nutritionists, and a whole team that will look after their health. So imagine if Jinabas, if others got this opportunity, then they would have performed. So generally, I think the performance was quite good.
The Minister of Sports, Bakari Baji, in an interview with QTV, reveals that the Gambia National Olympic Committee and the International Olympic Committee are planning to secure scholarships for Gambian athletes to get better training to enhance their performance. If this happens, the Gambia may stand a better chance in the 2024 Olympic Games to be held in France. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
Now, before we close, here is a recap of our main news headlines. The Director of Health Promotion and Education has told QTV that the recent surge in COVID-19 cases could be attributed to the lack of compliance with the guidelines and vaccine hesitancy. Foundation stones for 34 million Dalasi projects to construct bridges and roads in 3 villages in URR were laid by the Basse Area Council. 250 Gambia Armed Forces personnel have graduated after completing a course in the Turkish language ahead of advanced military training in Turkey later this year. In international news, today the 5th of August commemorates the day when Burkina Faso, formerly known as Upper Volta, gained full independence from France in 1960. In sports news, following Team Gambia's failure to qualify for any finals or earn a medal in the ongoing Tokyo Olympic Games, QTV went out to gauge public opinion on their performance. That's all we have for you in this bulletin of the news. Thank you very much for watching, but do stay tuned as we have more news for you at 10 p.m.